This is Lee's 67 Belvedere II, 383, 4-speed?
4-speed.
4-speed. Super nice, clean. I mean, this is repaint, Survivor. Tell us about your car. I don't know where to begin with this thing because
well, it is a Survivor for the most part. I call it Survivor-ish because it did have the tops of the fenders and the hood were repainted. I don't know the history of why, and it has had a couple little bumps and bruises along the way. The right rear got hit at one point. There's a little fix there. There's a little fix up here. And I think there's a couple touch-up spots on the trunk. But I would say, 70+% of the paint on this car is original. It's my best assessment. Bought it in June of 2019. There's a long story about how long it took me to get it transported. It came from Pennsylvania. I won't go into the long sad story about why it took 2 months to get it here, but anyway, it's got 33,000 miles on it. It was purchased by a guy who came back from Vietnam in '67, and he wanted to go drag racing, and he told me, I actually found him because I have all the original paperwork and I did a little internet sleuthing, and wrote the guy a letter, talked to him. He came back from Vietnam, wanted to go drag racing,
You talked the original owner?
I found him, yes. Wow. We call it sleuthing, not stalking.
Okay.
And I basically sent him a letter. I wasn't 100% sure it was the guy, but I was pretty sure. And he ended up calling me because he gave him all my contact info. And he told me, he ended up calling me. He told me that came back from Vietnam, wanted to go drag racing, was gonna buy a Belvedere I, but decided he did not like the interior because it was a little too Spartan. So he ordered this car, and we'll show the paperwork later. He ordered this car and basically kind of the stripped down version, except for a few dress up items like the side molding and the steering wheel, which we can talk about that later. Anyway, he put slicks on it, set of 410s headers, and took the thing drag racing. Put the Hurst shifter in and a line lock, and ran it in the stock class.
So this had a inland?
Yeah,
shifter?
we can. Okay. And I have the original Hurst box, which we'll show in a second.
Okay.
Or a minute or two. He took it to, and I don't know the timeline as to when he did this. Probably fairly early on. Took it to a guy named Carlin Hine of Hine Motors in Ohio, who ran a car called the Honkin' Hemi, and I guess he was like a tuner of these cars. They put the 68 camshaft, the 335 horse, which I think is the same cam that went into the 440 Magnums. Mm-hmm. Put the later intake and carb on it, so technically it was still stock. And anyway, the car ran like 1430s at 98, which is hauling pretty good for a car this big.
Sure.
So, and he said it was daily driven. They kind of detuned it and put it back to mostly stock, and it was daily driven for a short period of time and then stored, and I didn't get the story on why it was stored for so long. Let's get this guy off of here in preparation for starting it in a minute. So yeah, wish I had gotten the full story on why it sat for a long time, but there was something about his wife driving it, and then he eventually gave it to his son, and I think his son kind of sold it to one of his muscle car dealers, and then it got out on the open market.
So this car would have originally come with those HP manifolds?
No, that was pointed out to me early on when I got it because I didn't know that much about these cars. I knew a decent amount, but as soon as I posted some pictures online, somebody said, "Oh, that's the wrong intake and carb, and those manifolds didn't come on it." And that was prior to me finding the original owner. And so, and then, you know, this is a late model. Normally this should have snorkels on it. So anyway, after finding the original owner, and he filled me in on all this stuff, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense why it's got the later stuff.
You pulled the headers off, obviously.
Pulled the headers off, yeah, because I think it was like trying to put it back to street duty. They took the 410s out, put 323s, the original 323s back in. And actually, believe it or not, I'm not going to get them down, but I do have the 410s up in the rafters in a vintage like Mopar box. Right. So that's kind of cool. It's just kind of cool to have the history of it.
Sure, sure. And what else you got? You got the shifter, obviously.
Yeah, we can take a look at the shifter. This is super cool. The original like box from 1967 or 68. You can see it's been all. It's
silverfish chewing.
Silverfish, exactly. Yeah, so it's pretty cool to have all this original documentation.
Look at that.
The fact that it's stuck with the car through all of the several muscle car dealer owners that had it. I think this car kind of went through a few different hands.
Yeah, because you figured anybody selling this car could have just been like, oh, well, I'm keeping this stuff for myself. This is really cool, right?
Yeah, 1967. So yeah, this is pretty awesome. Just to have that history. That's the original Inland.
Yawn.
Which you look at it, it doesn't have a ton of wear on it, so I'm sure it went in pretty.
The box is cooler than what's in there now.
Yeah, the only reason to hold on to the Inland is if someday I decide to sell this thing and somebody who wants to restore the car to 100% stock
and tell the same story.
It's there, and there's a spare Hurst shift ball. But yeah, it's just kind of cool nostalgia. This is kind of the really cool stuff. Is the original paperwork. That is the original sticker and the screwdriver falling off.
The sticker. You can get zoomed in on that. That's cool too.
Yeah. Hopefully the plastic doesn't reflect too much. The cool thing about this is Struthers, Ohio is like 15 minutes from where my mom grew up.
Oh.
So when I saw where it came from, I was like, I know where Midlothian Boulevard is because I've been actually on that road. So yeah, that's the original sticker. These are backwards actually. So from what I can tell, this is April 4th, 67. This is, I believe, when he went in and ordered it and put a couple $100 down. Kind of crazy, $200 down on a car. And I believe this is when the car actually showed up. And this is sort of like the, it has the VIN on it and all that stuff. And it kind of takes over where this one left off. And that's like the original certificate of title in May of 67.
Is the original owner still living at that same address?
No. Okay. I basically kind of did, there's those people search things, and I had a couple of his addresses. I think his address changed between here and here, and I was able to kind of figure out, like, hey, this guy looks like he's about the right age.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this guy's name is when you search people in that state, there's a lot of people with the same name. Anyway, this is I think this is his original loan docs, which is kind of cool. I don't think I'll take that out. This is just photocopies of what we already have in. I think I actually have the originals of this. Yeah, this is like the receipt. And
I see the certicard there.
Certicard. This is cool. Certicard, and this is Sunset Drag Strip Class winner. He raced it there. York US 30 Dragway, which is in Pennsylvania, which is gone, I believe, but 1430s at 98. Unfortunately, he was the loser, but still quick. A couple more. There's a Sunset Drag Strip, time slip, and another York, 1446.
It's just amazing to me that back in the day, somebody would go out and buy a brand new car and then modify it and then beat on it.
Yeah, it is
I mean,
pretty.
I don't know what kind of money the guy had, but I didn't come from a family that could do that. I mean, we bought a car. It had to last a long time.
Exactly. And it's just like some of the, Chrysler air temp. There's a map of Pennsylvania. Somebody tried to decode the sticker, or the Certicard. Oh, we don't want to lose this guy. Put this guy back in here. What's this? Oh, I think this car was actually auctioned at Carlisle in 2017. I think I actually found the listing, the listing of it, and downloaded the pictures and stuff.
So that auction was unsuccessful or something?
No, somebody paid a pretty good amount of money for this. I think they paid like 30 grand in 2017, and I think with the 10% buyer's premium, that made it 33 grand. I did not pay that much. I don't really want to go into what I paid for it, but it was not that much.
All right. I wonder who that is.
I don't know.
Maybe they'll watch the video.
Yeah.
Comment if you are.
I actually, before I turned in the paperwork that I got from Pennsylvania when I bought it, because you have to turn that into the DMV, I took a scan of it, so I have that on my computer just for documentation purposes. But yeah, I think it was like some of these muscle car dealers, these, which.
Well, let's get it out of here. Can we play with it? Cold start. Will it run? There we go. Great. Got a little light on the subject. Yeah, man, let's go for a ride. So you were saying he had slicks on this thing. Do you know if he ran them on the steel wheels or do you have like aftermarket?
He told me he had different wheels. That's obviously that stuff's long gone.
Are the steels that are on there now original?
I believe they are. These are reproduction. The reproduction red line bias plies.
Yeah, no, good choice in tires, but yeah, you don't expect to be driving around on original tires, not
Yeah.
safe.
But I believe these are the original wheels.
Okay, question 2. The electronic ignition, you put that on there?
I did not. That was there when I got it. Which I was actually very happy about because I don't like messing with points anymore.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reason I kind of call it Survivor-ish. It's like, yeah, to me, electronic ignition is one of those things that you do to make your car more reliable. I mean, yeah, the underhood is not perfectly 100% correct, but I don't really care that much. I'm not trying to win any trophies.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that I would have put electronic ignition on this car myself, but since it's done, I just run it.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing that's neat about this cam is it's got just enough rumble to make it interesting. Sounds
Right.
good, but
does.
it's totally drivable.
That tack is really cool too.
Most likely vintage, I believe. I believe that you can tell is the oil pressure gauge is vintage. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it looks cool. Because I don't think we have 80 pounds of oil pressure.
Okay. All you're looking for is a massive drop. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Either we have pressure or not.
Yeah. I believe the clutch in the, the clutch is, I believe, original. It gets a little sensitive as it gets warm and chatters pretty bad, so I think that's going to be in my future. So,
Okay.
the clutch. Try to get some place where we can just open it up a teeny bit without getting in too much traffic, hopefully. Car kind of floats down the road.
It's a B-body.
Yeah. Do a little bit without getting too crazy.
Big block torque.
Yeah. Maybe we'll go a little bit further down this way.
All right, now it's warmed up. We got a regular idle. Sounds great. So you were gonna say something about the steering wheel?
Oh yeah. You probably want to get a close up of that. Here, I'll open this.
You took the original chain steering wheel off and put this one on.
Yes. Now that is the often referred to as the recall wheel. And from my reliable source, there's no such thing as the quote-unquote recall wheel. But when they started making these, they had a sort of, the horn button was a spike that kind of floated in between this part here, and you can find pictures of them online. And they were worried that in a crash, if the steering wheel folded, you'd get impaled by it. So they redesigned it and took the spikes out, and this is the result.
Huh.
So it's not, but apparently it's basically a redesign, not a recall, is what I have been told. And my source is pretty reliable. I don't really want to say his name because I didn't
Ask him.
Right, but now that you mention it, I haven't seen a wheel like this.
No, they're extremely rare.
The typical wheel for this year has like a little raised area here. That's in like the frosted silver, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure about the standard. Oh, the standard wheel is actually much more plain. But this is also a late design steering wheel, which is consistent with this car.
Yeah,
it's it's ordered in April and delivered in May. So yeah, that's why it's on there. And the original owner, when I talked to him, told me that that is one of the luxury items, if you will, that he wanted to buy. So he paid for that.
Gotcha.
Rather than the regular, a lot of times they're like a flat. It's very plain looking.
Right.
Something looks like being a station wagon.
Right. So we got the simulated wood grain and the spokes and the this in here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So I'm noticing the flashing of the e-brake.
Yeah.
Is that stock?
I haven't touched it.
I don't recall ever seeing one of those.
Well, since '67, probably the first year because it's only like, watch, if I get in, it's just basically telling you the emergency brake's on.
Right. I mean, I knew they had a light, but I didn't know it flashed. Anyway, that's cool. Again, maybe someone will comment on that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's and you were also commenting when we were driving about the seats. They're original.
Yeah.
That's not this is not reproduction stuff.
Not legendary, flimsy garbage.
And you can see there's a little, like the threading is starting to get a little bit bare in places. The piping's come loose. I mean,
I was wondering because they feel so substantial. Like I remember old cars back in the day when you're a kid. You get into them, they feels thick like this.
yeah.
So I figured either it's original or maybe a upholstery shop basically copied the originals with decent material. But wow, original stuff. Cool.
The only thing I haven't found to substantiate this, although I think it's very, very original, is I looked for the build sheet, broadcast sheet, and it was not under the seat. And when I talked to the original owner, I'm not sure why, he took the back seat out, maybe to put some kind of racing harness or something. He didn't say. And he saw, don't look for the broadcast sheet, it's gone, I threw it away. He said that stuff didn't matter back then.
Right. Makes sense.
Let me open the trunk.
Yeah.
Has had the exhaust replaced. It's got, pipes, tips on it from Summit, but exhaust is kind of that's a replaceable, it's a wear item.
Sure.
There we go. Original trunk mat. I gently lifted it up when I got the car just to kind of look. I've seen pictures. The guy that I bought it from had taken pictures with this out. It's all split, so I really don't like to move it.
Sure, right.
Because it's
As little as possible.
Only original ones.
Trunk light.
Yeah, I think the guy got the lighting package too. I'm not an expert on what comes with it. This is super cool. Vintage stickers.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask about them on the wing windows and stuff. Is this just something that he put on back in the day, or do these have any meaning?
They're vintage. I actually Googled Roy's racing tires. They don't exist anymore. This is all vintage stuff.
It's so cool though. Pennsylvania, it just goes with the car.
Yeah, and there was one on that side that the guy that I bought it from took off. It was like a super stock magazine. It was right here, and I
forgot that it was there. I was looking through the photos when I had the car inspected before I bought it, and it was there. And when I got the car, it was gone. So I was kind of annoyed that
Oh yeah.
got taken off. But you know, the York US 30 dragway class winner is cool.
Yeah,
so it goes
it
with
is.
the York dragway. Time slips
And then maybe when he
and Sun Instruments.
when he bought the tach, he got that with it.
Yeah, and there was, and I don't know how that worked. I know at one point they probably still do it. There's like, I think they call them contingencies or something. When you win and you have stickers from the manufacturer, you get a little bit of money. I think. Not sure. Maybe somebody who's an expert in drag racing, you know,
Yeah,
can chime in.
that's old school stuff for sure.
I just left this on just because I think this is the last time it was inspected in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
I think that's probably July of 2011. You know, I just left it because it ties the history together.
Yeah, but if you look at this paint, it's all, you can tell it's original.
I don't know if it comes through here in the sun, but I mean, I can see this. This is the original color, and this is like, it's like faded a little bit. I did polish it a little gently just to try to bring it out a little bit, but I think it's I don't know what happened here, but clearly that was blended, painted, and I don't know where the blend line is, if it's down here.
Well, if it's single stage, you can definitely buff it.
It's got the, you know, it's about as original. It's the most original car I've ever owned. And that's what I was looking for when I found it.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect example of all the cool stuff that was happening back in the day.
Yeah. Some people call it a day 2 car. And I guess you probably got the vintage Krager and Hearst stickers. Super cool. I just dig the vintage vibe of it. So I mean, you can tell the engine's not perfectly clean. I kind of have the attitude of just kind of leaving it.
Right.
Unless it gets really filthy.
Right. Well, thanks for taking the time to show us your Belvedere II. Awesome
Welcome.
car. Awesome. Thank you. What kind of treasure you have under here?
That is I believe 1971 standard bore 340 block, which currently is not for sale. It might be, I don't know.
Complete main caps and everything?
Yeah, there's the box, the Amazon box. And no, the main caps did not come from Amazon. They're just stored in an Amazon box. Those are the original caps. I've had that block since the late 80s, like 89, I want to say, something like that, 88.